Who says bigger isn't always better? Pfft, crazy.
Ooh. Oh, and it shows the doors open? Wow, very cool. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As you all know, my name is Michael, or for those of you that don't know, that's what it is. Here's my 2016 Focus ST. You can see my seats. So I have the ST1. I guess one big thing about when I was purchasing this vehicle, I didn't realize the different models or trims that was available, like the ST1, ST2, ST3. So with the ST1, it's the very basic model for the enthusiast driver, I guess you would say. However, mine got packaged with the sunroof. And then when we come onto the inside, ST1 has the little screen. If you couldn't tell by the thumbnail of this video, we're gonna be upgrading the infotainment system with a $125 screen in there that will still be using the original backup camera, but it's also supposed to be able to have Apple or Android Auto CarPlay. So we'll see how that does, and we'll see how easy this install is. All right, so when it comes to opening up your box, you can see it already comes with the wires. It even comes with those plastic trim panel removers. It also has the main and most important piece, the upgraded infotainment screen or system. Look at how sick that is. So it is touchscreen. Hopefully it works pretty well. We'll see. That is just a beauty piece. It's not a button or anything. The only buttons is the hazards and then the unlock and lock button, which is a weird spot for it because it is on the door. So we'll see how it goes. Let's get into taking this thing apart. Take this plastic panel out here, pop this all up and off so it can come back. Get to some screws up under here. So this panel here also needs to come out. Now once you get this whole piece broken off here, you then take this out, and then you have your Torx bits here to take out. That way you can take out or remove your whole AC heat control panel. So you have the screws here and here that hold your AC controls in. Well, you're also going to have a screw here and here that you need to take out. You will then be able to pull this up on both corners to be able to get this piece taken off. To make it easier on yourself, make this loose up here, this loose here. There's a tab right here. You can pull up with some force and it'll break it loose. I already broke it loose. You will then remove this. Oh, hopefully you don't let it fall like that. Once you slide the unit out, remove these pieces without breaking anything, move on to the screen. When it comes to removing this guy, push down on this plastic ball here and it should slide right out. To remove the screen, push this tab down right here. This should fold over like that and pulls right out. All right guys, now we all know this 4 inches, it'll do its job, but I think this is like 9.5 inches. Bigger is always better. Well, when it comes to connecting and plugging in everything, you just got to do your best to follow the instructions. I did tape a couple things down, so hopefully it helps prevent any rattling from behind. Yeah, that probably won't be the best, but whatever. You do have to transfer over your climate control vents in there. They go right there and there. This obviously, since it's not OEM, the fit isn't the best on the side, but on the inside it fits well. The dial up here rubs a little bit. But once you figure all this out, now you just gotta try and figure out what connection goes with what. So hopefully this instructions will be able to help me. I'll do my best. So something else you're gonna need to remove from your old head unit to this new one is going to be these plastic tabs here and this metal clips. This plastic piece isn't on there, so you do have to attach it yourself. It comes with the kit, and then there's screws that it comes with that you just attach to these points over here, so that way it'll stay on. Yeah, so once you figure out what connects with what, this original connection was to the screen or the display, the little tiny one. Then you take the rear camera, so that way it'll connect to this piece down here, which goes into the screen, so that I should have a rear camera working, and all these other connections Yeah, so clearly I don't have the high model. I have the low trim, so yep. And then this is the high model. Don't have that, so don't use that one. Yeah, so once you figure all that out, it's time to put it back into place. Oh, I'm gonna try and put this like GPS thing so that way if Apple CarPlay works, it'll be able to track on the road. I'm gonna try and put it up here with the double-sided sticky tape. Well, it is a tight fit. Man, does that look good with the screen off. I am very excited for it. I gotta peel the plastic off and I gotta start re-screwing in or securing it down pretty much, and then it'll all be good and put all these pieces back together. It is a very, very, very tight fit, just so you know and you're aware. I did take this boost gauge and oil pressure thing out, so it just pops right out. That way I could look behind there and try and remove any wires that could be dangling in a funny way. Yeah, so this is what I mean when it comes to this guy's a little loose here compared to this one. Actually, they're about the same, but yeah, I mean, what do you expect? It's aftermarket Chinese, very, very cheap. It's $125 for this whole thing. Super sick. Well, before I get too far ahead of myself, which I already basically am, because all these bolts are already put in, all I got to put back is this piece here for the passenger airbag light to be on with this. I got this all bolted back up, just got to put the trim piece back. But before I start doing that, let's make sure this screen actually works. The moment of truth. Ooh. Oh, and it shows the doors open? Wow, very cool. Sorry guys, so in order for the airbag piece right here to work, I did have to Dremel or cut some tabs off, so we'll see if that helps. Yep, it worked. So as you can tell, those little tabs I had to cut off, you'll see if you start doing it yourself, will allow it to fit into place, otherwise it wouldn't fit. So now I can put the rest of this on. I ended up not worrying about that thing right here because, I mean, I hardly ever use my hazards, but watch, now I'm gonna need my hazards or something. But it's getting late. As you can see, it's dark out. So I'm going to get to you guys in the morning once I get this all cleaned up. And I'll see y'all in the morning to talk about this a little bit more. All right, guys, so it is the next morning. I've been driving probably for about 30-ish minutes now, heading to the office for a meeting. And so a couple things about this new infotainment system. So with the sun coming at you like that, I mean, I do need to change the settings. Maybe I need to turn up the brightness a little bit of the screen. The Apple CarPlay, I mean, it's just like any other car, just like that Honda Pilot. Takes a little bit, not a little bit, like a few seconds, maybe at most 30 seconds to get connected to your Apple CarPlay. I'm not sure how Android Auto works because it is like a giant Android tablet. But I mean, you can see the glare there, but once I take the glare away off the windshield, you can see it really, really nicely. It looks really good. Downside, so typically when you guys do maps, like I don't need the maps on, I just did it to see how it works, and it works well. Downside, usually when you have Apple Maps going, the Apple Map voice, whatever directions, like overpowers what you're listening to, right? Well, now it's reversed. Now it's a lot quieter than whatever you're listening to or the radio or whatever, so it's harder to hear it. Maybe that's a setting I need to adjust, I'm not sure, but I mean, it's like a double-edged sword. When I have road trips and I'm using Apple Maps and everything, and then it overpowers what I'm listening to, and I'm trying to actually focus on what the radio or the podcast is talking about at that time, and then of course you get interrupted. Now it's like, well, maybe if I'm going somewhere and I need to know where to turn, instead of being glued to the screen, I would like to hear it, and this time it's a lot quieter, so you won't be able to hear it as well. So I don't know, it's a maybe it's a setting I need to change. So the one thing I miss about the old one is the dial for the volume. Yes, you can do the steering wheel and it goes up, it goes down, or you could push the touch screen up and down on this. Works well. Now let's go to the music. Make sure your phone volume is turned all the way up when it's connected in order to hear it that well, or pretty well. So there's that. Let's see if I hit the arrow on. Oh, it does change songs. Perfect. Okay. So it just will not change when you go to the radio. Let's go to the home. Go to radio.
The thing that I don't want you to know about me is that.
So it won't change your radio. Oh, it will actually. Wow. So it'll change to your presets. Super sick. Wow. That's something I didn't know. Cool. Well, now you guys know. The other thing that came with it was a anti-glare screen protector, whatever. Looks really good on the camera, but it is a lot more dull in person, so it looks almost fuzzy-ish, kind of, look a little hazy. Another thing I'll show you in the reverse camera, the quality isn't that great of the camera. I'm not sure if it's just because of it's used to projecting or like transferring over to a smaller screen versus now it's to this gigantic screen. So I'll show you once I reverse in the parking spot. Here's what I'm talking about when it comes to reversing. So it doesn't look, it looks really good on camera actually, but in person it's a little fuzzy, a little grainy, but it's all right. I mean, it does okay, right? I mean, it's a way bigger screen than what it was before. Can't complain too much, right? All right, yeah, so that is the $125 upgraded Focus ST, Focus RS, whatever you want to call it, for this platform infotainment system screen. So far, I like it. I think it's worth the money, obviously. 125 bucks with the bezel, can't beat it. The only thing I wish about the bezel was instead of having that circle thing in the middle, it would have just been a smooth gloss look rather than that beauty piece. I think that looks trashy, kind of. I'll have update videos as a short on a week from now on how it's doing, and then a month, and then probably 6 months. So that way you guys can see how the progression of this goes. So I hope you guys like this video. I hope if you decide to do it, you enjoy it also, and don't get too caught up on all the wiring. It wasn't that bad. Just follow the instructions. It took me from teardown to put back together, it took me just shy of 2 hours. So it seems like a lot or a long time, but it really wasn't bad. There was a lot of things I was trying to do to make sure everything behind it worked well. One other thing about this screen, or this new infotainment system, is the radio. I've been noticing that it's a little bit more staticky in certain areas that it wasn't before. Like the connection of the radio isn't as good. So even though it's using the same antenna from the car and just plugs in, maybe it's not the best, but I hardly ever listen to the radio anyway, just really early in the morning. Yeah, not a big concern there. Just something I noticed, so that way you guys aren't thrown off by it. But hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.